How's it going, everybody? This is Rob of Novakast back with another video. And with this particular video, I'm going to be responding to more of the Onision content. Two videos, actually. The first one is around the same time that the allegations for, or at least from Sarah, were coming up. And this video came right after, I guess, some of the drama was kind of building up. And the video is titled, no joke, The Truth, which, knowing Onision at this point, it's a clickbait title. So he wants people to click on it to see if people are going to watch this, see what he has to say, which we all know he's going to bullshit through this entire video. And another one that we're going to be responding to a little bit later is apparently him and a bunch of people that I have never seen before, probably just some random, people, to bring up the conversation, to talk about his quote-unquote underage romance when he was 11, which I'm still on the fence of that not actually happening, because I don't think anybody wants to spend some time with somebody who's that small.
Golf clap? Golf clap.
Hey guys, hi. I have been on a long journey on this channel and my other channels. In the early days, I looked a whole lot like this.
Let's say you are a moral vegetarian, which means you are a vegetarian because you do not want to directly contribute to the slaughter of innocent animals by purchasing their carcasses.
So you were a sniveling, entitled douchebag who thought that he was better than everybody else back then. But you're the same, today. So what's the point of this?
It is like, 10 years later or something, and now I look like this, and I'm talking like this. I think that I've improved a little in my personality and who I am.
You serious?
So, quite a few years down the line, I looked more like this.
Because not you, not I, not anyone is perfect. And those people we do look up to, those people who are close to us, they often offer us a wonderful opportunity to grow as people.
And, I feel like that's better in the sense that I was happier in a way. I was more carefree, and I was enjoying life a lot more.
Yes, carefree. Because usually you didn't give a shit about pissing on other people, especially on their emotions, their body types, or let's say what they're dealing with in their life in general. So, up yours with a twirling lawnmower, you fucknut.
At some point, I wound up looking like this again. We're talking about morals, whether they be valid or not morals.
I always thought it was hypocritical about Onision trying to dictate or tell other people about what is moral and what isn't.
We're talking about laws. In many places, if you respect laws in general or not, that may say a lot about you. And when you relapse into your bad side, when you go back to this gloomy darkness, it's kind of like a last hurrah, it seems. In the sense that, you think about the past and you're like, oh, the good old days, and then you experience them again and they're just not the same. Where you used to be so into yourself, so full of yourself. You loved your darkness and your,
I'm sorry, but it just seems like he's trying to justify his bad behaviors to me. Like, embracing, everything about him. Look, I'm going to say I have my own demons, and you know what? Unfortunately, when it comes to my case, they're never going to go away. But I've learned a way, in a healthy way, to deal with them. And I will say, like, when it comes to YouTube, it has been one of the biggest impacts in my life, where, I can discuss my feelings or discuss topics And you know what, at this point, have a confidence in myself to, you know, one, not do anything stupid that would garner me any criticism, but another thing is, you know, just be a respectable person who has confidence. And honestly, if something is criticized about me, then you know what, I'm willing to accept any criticism, because that's the thing about the internet, is I'm open to criticism. And if you're on the internet, then you are open to criticism as well. So, and I'm going to say this. You mentioned that, again, and I've said this many times, you've been on here for almost 11 years. You're still acting the same way, and you bitch and moan about why people criticize you. And you claim it as harassment. It's not harassment. It's people giving their opinions about your bullshit. Plain and simple.
Special feeling of importance and all that nonsense. And I've been like looking at my life and thinking, you know, what do I like? I like straight up robot chicken, like this here.
Hey, Sergeant Korchoff, wanna come join my party?
Holy shit.
I'm gonna say it's once in a while I'll actually watch Robot Chicken. I think the only funny moments would have to be, oh my gosh, what funny moments did I think are, you know, do I think are hilarious in Robot Chicken? Gummy Bear. Everybody knows the Gummy Bear clip. Star Wars, like, just all the Star Wars stuff is fucking hilarious. I especially like that Seth MacFarlane plays the Emperor, time and time again. In fact, that has gotten so many, like, videos for TikTok or whatever, where people are reenacting the whole scene where Palpatine is on, you know, the escalator, and he has to say Stormtrooper to like a million stormtroopers, and he gets to the point where he's like, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself. But I'm getting off topic. Just overall, there's some good moments, and I'm gonna say it's embarrassing that you try to make a representation of Robot Chicken in your own media. It could be because, one, the only thing you can find in comedy is sex and horror. So, all in all, your shtick is, you know, not that great.
That to me is like really good, funny, innocent, awesome comedy. And I'm like thinking, who do I watch? Like, what kind of content am I into? And it's no one on YouTube. I don't watch anyone on YouTube because I feel like there's nothing here for me as far as the content that I watch. I just don't connect with anyone.
Well, more than likely, the reason you don't connect with a lot of people is a lot of YouTubers don't groom little girls.
Oh shit! Burn! Burn!
And yes, I know Sarah was in her teens, but to be perfectly honest, does that make it any better? I mean, seriously, with everything that's been brought up so far from a lot of other people, including Sarah herself. Which, again, look forward to the video from MJ and Magi, going over all the text and everything, because holy shit, there's a lot of it. But overall, something I want to bring up too is like, wait a minute, does that mean, with you not connecting to anybody, does that mean that you don't connect with the content that your husband, using quotes, husband, makes? Because if so, damn. That's bad. And maybe Kai should kind of reconsider doing the whole YouTube thing if their own husband can't support them on what they're doing.
It's everyone just wanting to be famous, but not wanting to be themselves while doing it. And that's sad.
Okay, not to seem like I'm stealing a line from Undoomed, but Hey, moron. Fucking moron. Why do you think a lot of people come onto YouTube to begin with? Yes, at the start they, create a channel, they just want to make content, but eventually when they get big enough, they end up wanting to branch out. They want to, see where YouTube ends up taking them. Eventually, they end up making a career out of it. Yes, sometimes they end up creating a sort of persona that they present themselves as for the camera, but in the end, it's a character. And it sounds weird that I'm defending that, but in this case, when it comes to it, that's usually the case, where they are pretending to be a different persona, and usually they end up mixing their persona with what they actually think or feel in real life. That's the same as like with the whole thing with Onision, with his characters, which why I justify when he does something wrong, it's not okay to just blame it on the character, because that's him trying to, pit the blame on something else that he's not taking responsibility. Because at this point, his characters and his quote-unquote personality are intertwined. But all in all, with a lot of people, they, act as a character. Or they have a different persona. I mean, do you think there's, actual people called, like, Angry Joe or Super Butterbun who do gaming content and do reviews? No. Do you think they probably act the way that they do for their videos in real life? Probably not. But overall, it's... I don't even know why I'm trying to explain this to him.
And that's a hipster thing to say. It's an edgy thing to say. I know.
I was going to say something more along the lines of hypocritical.
But at the same time, like, ask every wealthy person ever, what they want out of life or what they regret, whatever. Almost always they say, they wish they could spend more time with family, or they wish they could go back to their childhood and just enjoy the outdoors, and they wish that they could be alive again and not so focused on fame and money and all these things that society trained us to value. And even public opinion. Like, one of the biggest reasons that I would make video after video after video is because I cared about people's opinions.
What the fuck?
Did he just say what I thought he said?
I cared about people's opinions.
No, there's no way he... No.
I cared about people's opinions.
Okay, not to go in a mini rant, but what opinions do you care about? Do you care about the ones that end up kissing your ass and agreeing with you? Or do you actually care about the opinions of people that, when they are concerned and have some criticism about you, they give that criticism and they don't have to deal with harassment when you fucking don't like what they have to say? I'm sorry, but no, you don't like criticism. You don't like other people's opinions. The only thing you like is your fucking ego and anything that you spew out of your damn mouth.
I really did. Like, I really wanted to connect with people and build relationships that were, like, lifelong. Like, have real connections with people. And then I started to realize the internet is not real life.
No shit, Sherlock!
It's not. And I've been treating the internet like real life for a very, very long time now. Like, I've been like, well, if people don't like me online, then that must mean I'm just not worth living. And that's a crazy, toxic way to think. It really is. And, I've been in this crazy, toxic place for a very long time. But the reality is that the internet and the real world are two totally different places. When, in real life, you yell at your sister, I'm not saying I did that. Calm down. Let's say you yelled at your sister. It doesn't turn into some kind of thing. It's like nobody cares. In real life, nobody cares about pretty much anything, because we're all understanding that we're human beings around each other, and we kind of get it. you know? Like, we kind of get that, like, everyone has problems. Everyone. So, if, like, you're having problems with your mom, you're having problems with your husband, you know, people get it, and they move on.
Now, we're going back to, yes, a lot of people get it, but unfortunately, somebody like you does not. And when there's an issue, you end up blaming other people for what's happening to you.
Like, for instance, I know someone whose wife cheated on them and destroyed their family, you know? Like, I look at that and I think, damn, that's horrible. You know, that's a really sad thing. But if I ever see that ex-person associated, I'm trying not to, like, out anybody. That's why I'm not doing details. But this woman, if I ever see that woman who cheated on her husband, I don't feel like I'll be like, oh, how dare you? Oh, you're scum, or anything like that. I think I'll just be like, hey, how you doing? And move on with my life, you know? I was talking to my friend the other day, and he said that the internet is just one big shouting match. And I was like, just listening, you know, he told me that I am actually completely and utterly out of control.
No offense to Onision, but a lot of people have told you that you're out of control. And very harmful to people's mental health. But
that's one of the, he said, you know, you have so much ability to do so many things, yet you choose to waste your life on this nonsense. He used an analogy saying, you know, I'm circling a big container of poop, you know, and I jump in the poop, and then I scream, hey everyone, oh, woe is me, I'm covered in poop. And I felt like that was a good analogy in the sense that I am responsible for so many of my stresses. If I was smart with how I lived my life, if I stopped trying to solve problems and be in everyone's business, you know? Like, if I would just mind my own business, if I would just, like, grow up as a person, I would have far less problems. Specifically the minding my own business. That girl who cheated on her husband, I don't go up to her and say, gosh, you're a scum human being, because I literally don't know her story. I don't know their marriage. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
yet in many cases, you do that anyways, even if you don't know the person or don't have the full facts, Mr. Fact Machine. I mean, you've called several people, you know, sex offenders with no evidence, only to try to slander them. You've called several people pedophiles, again, to try to slander them with no evidence. Actually, for one of them in particular, the evidence that was given turned out to be falsified. So, and you still ran with that. You still ran with that information. People who have been associated with you, you find one thing or find out one little piece of dirt on them, and you proceed to attack them, attack their credibility. So, all in all, yes, everything that's happening to you is your fault. But I think overall, especially like when it comes to associating with people or, you know, helping people in general, just don't be a scumbag. Don't be a fucking two-faced scumbag towards people. Don't try grooming little girls. Don't try and ask for underage photos of teenagers to rate their bodies, because that's not okay.
And what's crazy is like when like that husband and that wife broke up, everybody has their reasons. Everyone in that situation probably feels like a good person. They probably feel like they're rational, they're the most logical, they're the best. And I think that's what we forget online, is that when we see like a guy who cheats on a girl 4 times, we're like, wow, that is the worst person on earth. We're like, that's a terrible person. And yet we haven't spoken Like, I'm talking about a specific YouTuber. I haven't spoken to that person personally. I haven't talked about what his story is. I haven't heard anything he had to say. I made my mind and I shut it down. And that's why I shouldn't be in other people's business. I shouldn't try to save someone because they decide to eat a certain amount of food that I disagree with. I shouldn't be running around with my cape, acting like this is my responsibility. This is vigilante or something, like internet vigilante.
Not to sound like I'm being picky, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced vigilante, not vigilante. It's vigilante. And overall, people have already told you not to do this. When it comes to stuff like Eugenia Cooney, where you got in her business, and at this point, it wasn't even you trying to be supportive or helpful. With that whole situation, you were using her for money, as well as harassing her and being very destructive to her mental health by making the videos that you made. I think everybody can remember this one.
You shouldn't be concerned. I go to the bathroom through my mouth, so it's okay.
I think that particular scene says it all about, what that video was about, as well as Onision's quote-unquote support for Eugenia Cooney.
It's like I'm compensating for whatever happened in my childhood or whatever is going on in my head. So the reason I'm making this video is because, like, I have connected with you guys way too much. Like, videos like this, I have made videos like this, talking to you guys and being like, I'm real, I'm honest, I'm all these things. And it's like, what am I trying to prove? What am I, like, I have people in my real life who I need to make connections with. And I, as a viewer, don't care about someone trying to connect with me on YouTube who collects a paycheck from my views. Like, I don't care about all these dramas and these silly, like, there's 50-year-olds who act like teenagers, still, to this day. I know a couple.
It's funny that this is coming from a guy who's clearly almost to his 40s and acts like an angsty teenager.
And it's because they don't realize that they are wasting their life trying to be victims. Like, I'm done feeling sorry for myself, and I'm done trying to be a victim because I realize that I am my own enemy in so many instances. And the moment I can finally permanently accept this, where I say, this is wrong what you're doing. You are not a victim. You are not this person who everyone should feel bad for. And you're not this person who is just the subject of everyone else being evil. But maybe you're inviting all of this into your life, you fool. If I never ever tried to be like, I'm a better person, follow me into the light. If I was never that way, my life would be 1,000 times better. But because I just think that, I'm God's gift to earth, or thought, here I am, down there with all the people I thought I was above. I think the key to being a more successful person, a happier person, is to not compare yourself. To not look at people who maybe are less happy, less successful, and say, what's the problem here? This is my business. It's not my business. I think the happiest people don't consider these things. What they consider is their own life, where you focus your love and attention. It's in your reality, right here around you.
Well, if this whole epiphany was true, and trust me when I say this, I'm on the fence of whether or not it is, then your first step would probably be to accepting responsibility for a lot of the things you've done. Being open to a lot of the shit that you blame other people for what you yourself have done. For instance, your issues with your relationships. Acknowledge that it wasn't them, it was you. Acknowledge the fact that you shamed people because they didn't want to be around you. Acknowledge the fact that you shamed people online because you didn't like what they had to say. Or you didn't like them for just whatever reason. All of your problems are because of you. And nobody else.
Like, we, as people, are addicted to the feeling you get when people approve of what you do, or are mad at you, or anything. Attention, for some reason, triggers, like, I'm gonna waste my whole life away inside our brains. Like, we just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and obsess on Twitter all day, or I'm gonna go ahead and obsess on YouTube videos, or whatever. Like, I'm gonna do everything I can to get this reward in my brain of more eyeballs looking at me, and me feeling like I am someone. But I think what's crazy is, like, someone said to me, the highest level YouTuber is still a D-list celebrity. Like, this is all fairy dust or something that's just nonsense. It's a joke. And so if I'm going to make content, it shouldn't be this waste of life. It should be something that I'm really proud of. And that's why I'm very excited for the future. I hope that people who are down or sad or just need a boost in their life watch my content and feel better. That would be cool. Because there's pretty much no better feeling than knowing that you brighten someone's day and that you are to someone else what was to you when you needed it most. That you are the good thing about life. I don't really care what other people are at this point. I just don't want to let people down. And I don't want to make the world even remotely more gloomy than it was when I came in. Because we're all pursuing happiness. But if I were a person who made a lot of people unhappy constantly, even if, you know, I would feel justified because our opinions are different, I feel like to ask for happiness myself would be unfair. So, thanks.
So, like I said before, if this was an actual thing where he is finally maybe seeing issues with his own logic, then the first step would probably be to accept responsibility for things that he has done in the past. And I would say, you know, not just the people that he's hurt, but all in all, everything that he's done in the past. Acknowledge all the criticism, acknowledge everybody who has had an opinion, and maybe look at himself and realize, you know what, maybe I was in the wrong. But, as I stated, more than likely that's a ruse. This entire thing is just him trying to gain sympathy. And it's funny when this whole situation, like, you know, him talking about not justifying his actions or justifying, you know, what he does, he then proceeds to make a video like this.
Alright, so back when I was 11 years old, there was a girl, okay, and I'm stuck
Is this
on this.
recorded?
Yeah.
Alright.
Don't laugh at me. No, but when I was 11 years old, there was a girl that I was crazy about, right? I put it in my third book, which everyone loves. Not a single person doesn't like it.
Not to be an ass, I mean, what am I kidding? I usually do that with my content anyways. The only people that like your book are the same people that kind of suck up to you and don't want to tell you the truth. Okay? Your book was shit. It was hard to read through. I did an entire video series reading each chapter per video. And holy shit, that was so fucking cringy to read through. Especially when you bring up the underage sex. That was horrifying to read through.
Anyway. I can't even say that with a straight face.
Right, okay.
Nah, but like chapter 13, I talk about how this girl that I was like really into, she was like my idea. Because you know how when you're a kid, you like the developed chicks. You don't like the girls your age because they're all... Anyway.
And then it switches as you get older.
Shut up, you idiot. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Are you really trying to say that it's not creepy that a guy almost in his 40s was getting, or at least trying to get with, you know, teenagers? For a lot of people, that would be very fucking creepy. I'm surprised people like Chris Hansen hasn't come over and paid you a visit.
No, but like, you have this girl who you're into, 4 years older than you, crawls over to your bed, starts making out with you. Things proceed forward. Are you a victim? Me, as a guy who's into it, like into being with an older person.
I can't believe you're not self-aware to realize how wrong this is. And how wrong it is for you to try to justify the fact that even though she was older than you, you guys are still very young, very, very young to fucking... Actually, that's basically it. To be fucking.
Are you actually a victim?
So I've been in that situation quite a few times.
But you're a girl and the society is totally disproportionate. Like they...
But even
girl
still, like I was
instant
into
victim.
it.
I'm talking... Right.
And I still see it as like, you are a victim still. You may have enjoyed it, but they're older than you. You're too young to really understand what's going on.
Look, call me old-fashioned, whatever, but I'm just gonna say this. Like, whether you realize it or not, they are way too fucking young. I with what this person said, the female in the group, yeah, it's wrong. It was absolutely wrong.
And understand what's...
Do you think that's for me to decide or society?
Well, let's think about it for a second. What was it again? 11? At 11 years old, do you have, you know, the full capacity of an understanding what's really going on in your life? And at 11, should you really be doing some of the things that you explain or, you know, depict in your stories as well as in your books? No, you shouldn't be.
Don't know. 'Cause, like, 11-year-olds, when that happens and the people get caught and they put them through court and all that,
I'm not
like,
11.
you can't tell
I'm
an
a grown-up.
11-year-old to make that decision because they're too young.
I'm grown up. As a grown up who went through that, I don't think I was a victim.
Honestly, Onision, it doesn't matter what the fuck you think, considering that, well, let's see. Your thought process is shit half the time. Actually, not even half the time. Like, the mass majority of the time.
Because I don't regret.
Do you think it's
being with an older
situational
person.
or like...
I'm not saying everybody.
Okay.
I'm just saying me going through that. I'm not saying you're not a victim if you go through that. Of course you could be a victim, you're probably a victim in that case, with that dynamic. But if the person grows up and they look back on it and they go, I didn't have a problem with that. Because like what would make it different is if I was with someone who was my age, because there was only a 4-year gap in that regard. It was kind of a huge developmental gap. But at the same time...
That's a huge gap for that
well,
age group, though.
I was bigger. I could defend myself if I wanted to. It wasn't like she scared me or anything. There was no pressure or anything like that.
Okay, so
mind you, she did. For the record, she did do exactly the same thing the next year at the same cabin with my friend who was 1 year older than me or younger than me. So she swapped out with another 11-year-old the next year. And she actually had with him.
And oh my gosh. Why are you still trying to justify it? Again, in your screwed up way, you think it's alright. But, understandably, and I hate to, like, use society, but for a lot of people, nobody's gonna go around thinking, oh, you know, having sex with a 15-year-old is okay. Nobody's gonna consider that okay. Do you understand that? I don't know how you can't understand that. Now for the rest of the video, they kind of bullshit and kind of run around in circles about this topic and talking about other shit. But all in all, it's a basic answer. Is it or is it not alright? No, it is not alright. And why it's being brought up constantly makes no sense. In fact, I'm pretty sure if it was like, what, in a camp, I'm pretty sure that individual would have been fired if the parents found out. So, all in all, no, it is not alright to be doing shit like that. Especially with you being that young. So, get your head out of your ass, stop thinking about sex and thinking that anything involving sex is good, and get your life together. So, I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have anything you would like to add in the conversation, please leave in the comments down below. If you guys want to watch me play video games, click on the button at the end of the video for content, or at least one of my gaming content. At the moment, I'm uploading videos for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, so go check out that stuff. It's really fun. With that being said, this is Rob of Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Oh, and also check out my playlists for watching Gotham and watching The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. Alright, this is Rob from Novakast signing off. Have a good one, and take care. Peace.